Okay. We will call to order the special board meeting of the Board of Election Commissioners for the City of Chicago. Good morning. My name is Marisel Hernandez. Seated to my left is Commissioner Jonathan Swain, and to my right is Commissioner William Kresse. Next item on the agenda is the consideration. Any suggested changes? If not, we have no minutes to approve. We will then proceed to the Executive Director's report. Mr. Goff.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and to my board members. A couple of items that I'd like to bring up. First of all, I'd like to say something that is hit very hard, is passing away of Justice Freeman the other day. I knew him for a very long time. In fact, when Harold Washington was sworn in, Harold Washington didn't invite me to the swearing in, Justice Freeman did. So it's really sad to see a man of his stature pass away. But I just wanted to say a couple of words on that. Other items, we're getting ready for this week. This weekend we will have, for the first time, as you know, we're going to have pretrial detainee voting at the jail, starting this Saturday and Sunday, and then the 14th and 15th. I think, talking to everybody, we're prepared. I looked over the people that Mr. Hurd had brought in to conduct the voting, and I think we'll be in good shape. So I wanted to let the board members know that. I did have a conversation with some of my friends from around the country. As you know, today is Super Tuesday. I spoke to Dean Logan, and they have new equipment for the first time. We brought new equipment in.
Where's that?
Los Angeles County. And he informed me that he has some precincts, some early voting sites that are open 24 hours. And I said, 24 hours? And he said, yeah. He says, we rolled out our equipment. The rollout is going as well as could be expected for new equipment. But he said that they were looking to make sure they would get as much of an impact on voting as possible, and they have some areas that will be open 24 hours. So it's something that I think we may want to take a look at. I did also talk to some staff and people. We spoke to some of our administrators, and I said, the numbers are up, but they're not the way they should be. He informed me that people are waiting to see what happens today, Tuesday, before they come in and vote. So I think we will see an influx of new voters coming out after today's date. I did have a conversation with the CDC. I spoke to someone this morning, and went over some items, and he said, Lance, but all I want to tell you is some things we don't know. We don't know how the disease is transmitted. There's some things that we are trying to put together. But as long as you let everybody know that the best thing is to wash your hands, to be as sanitized as possible. And that's something that we're going to put something out to our co-workers, and something here that we're going to do here in the office. So I want to let you know that. Final totals for Hensley, that's doing our mailing, they had 8,960 ballots go out the other day, which is incredible. So I think that everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing. One item that is still bothering me is that we are doing acceptance testing of the equipment at the same time we're pre-labbing. Your staff out at your warehouse do an incredible job. It's something that is being worked on. And I think we're going to sit down and have a meeting about what we can do to streamline it, but Charles and I have looked over it and they're doing real well, but it's not where it should be right now. You know, we're looking, I think Gary, we estimated we needed five wards a day. And we lost some time when we did, we set up for early vote on that Saturday. We lost a day there, but the boys are really trying to keep up. So I have some items that I'll be sending to my board members in writing, some recommendations. But overall, everything seems to be going okay at this time. Any questions?
Mr. Halliday?
Yes. Good morning, Madam Chair, fellow commissioners. As mentioned, our 50 early voting sites opened yesterday throughout the city. We had a total of 6,436 voters who voted yesterday, and a grand total of 8,260 voters who voted since early voting opened at our super site. Our new poll sheets have been delivered and are ready for the general public once requested. Sunday was the close of online registration. The registration department, we are processing those registrations as we speak. Once they're done, we'll begin printing our supplemental poll sheets for the judges for election day. The number of election judges assigned, 11,584. So there's 24 returning judge classes remaining, 17 new judges classes, and 7 student judges. Our election coordinators, we have 2,062, total class remaining 10. Currently, there's still 30 vacancies in the polling place. The polling place investigators are out, still finding places and filling those vacancies. Yesterday started delivery of the election supply carriers for election day, and will continue up till election day. All pre-printed ballots are at the warehouse, and all specimen ballots are here on the 6th floor, also ready for the general public. As Lance mentioned about acceptance testing and pre-lab, the equipment that's going out is in. So right now, they're just packing. The acceptance testing is done. So they're moving full steam ahead on that. We have 77,610 vote by mail applications. Of that, 1,353 the uniform overseas citizens voted. Staff is continuing preparing for the election, and
Thank you. Mr. Allen?
Good morning. We've been busy with a variety of tasks related to last-minute issues at the warehouse with forms, envelopes, and signage, as well as ordering additional supplies for vote by mail. So we're securing delivery of additional envelopes for later this week. We worked with the U.S. Postal Service successfully to notify them, to notify in turn all of the station managers about the 1.15 million mailing. Unlike that dropped Thursday, started hitting mailboxes Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and yesterday. Unlike some past mailings where we've had a slow delivery, we heard this time from staff from all over the city that they had received their mailing. I think one of the latest comments I received was late last night. Someone got home from work and said they had received their mailing. The mailing has in turn sparked a number of vote by mail applications over the weekend. We took in 4,000 in one day. We took another 3,000 yesterday online. We're also examining whether to re-email to the initial email list who didn't respond to see if they may want to vote by mail. We've had a number of media interviews about the new equipment. So far, everything's gone very smoothly at the early voting sites. There were a couple of more reports of voters being a little impatient when it was printing out the ballot and tugging on it and not waiting for it. So the early voting workers are trying to inform voters to let it complete the printing job. We've finished the printing for various logos for the new booths, as well as a new envelope 48E for the judges to use for registration materials on Election Day. We worked with we presented with the Illinois State Board of Elections at the Illinois State Bar Association last week. That was on election security, everything from what we do with the networks to the new balloting system to the new processes that we have available. That was very well received. We took a number of interesting questions. They were asking about DEF CON and our participation there, about our cybersecurity expert. So that was a very nice opportunity. We received questions, as you can imagine, in interviews yesterday, including WVON, WBEZ, relative to the early voting numbers being a little down yesterday, possibly because of all the candidates dropping out in the last 48 hours and people wanting to wait to see what shakes out over the next few days. So we had a good, strong start yesterday of 6,400. The same opening day 4 years ago, we had 9,400, but the ballot was much more settled at that point, where you had 2 leading presidential candidates, not still a field of 6 or more. We have a situation that we're working with our web content manager with the delegates for this ballot. As you know, we've never had this many delegates in various congressional districts, and that presents an issue in trying to display that information on the website if you have 47 delegates going across. So we're looking at making that only a downloadable form, as opposed to trying to present 47 candidates going for delegates going across in one district, by 500 precincts. It's virtually impossible to present that in any kind of orderly way. So it'll be a download-only type situation. We've worked out messages with our translation team. We work with the state board. Speaking of translations, they came to us late Friday and they realized that they did not have a message in Spanish, Hindi, and Chinese for now. The online voter registration is closed. So our staff quickly turned that around for them Friday afternoon, so that was ready for the Sunday shutdown of the online voter registration system. We had tapings of an interview with the chairwoman at News Views at ABC7. That went fairly well. Then we had the media availability yesterday at the opening of the traditional period of early voting. That was very well attended. We received a number of questions about the new equipment, as well as other issues related to hygiene and efforts to try to address other issues that are coming up right now. We had a follow-up meeting Mr. Holliday and I did with the Office of Emergency Management and Communications. We're looking to follow up with them some more because we have some outstanding questions and some items that we want to coordinate with them. It was a very productive meeting. And then we're working on some last-minute requests from different user departments for translations of different correspondence. So in the past, for example, the polling place change letter was prepared only in English, and now they're looking to make sure they have it in every one of the languages. We're also working with the new translation members from representing the Korean translations and the Tagalog.
Thank you.
I noticed at the media event yesterday, the chair took some questions with regards to vote by mail, which she answered quite well. Just for the record, what's the last day to request a vote by mail application? Or
Voters still have 9 more days, 10 to count today, so they have until the 12th of March, 5 p.m. The application has to be in our office, so it's not like you can mail in an application. You're either applying online up until 4:59 p.m., or the application has to be in our office by 5 p.m. And that's statute, and it has to be in 5 days before Election Day, and really that's to give both the election authority and the voter enough time to send out and get back the ballot so that it's postmarked by Election Day.
So the voters can apply online requesting a vote by mail ballot up to what date again was that?
4:59 p.m. on Thursday, March 12th.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Owen. We will now proceed with old business, infrastructure projects and changes in election administration and voting equipment. I think we tackled that. Electronic poll books.
The newsstand is fitted and they've been packed to the carriers.
Great. And legislation, is that any?
None.
Okay. New business. The first item under new business is removal of a judge of election, Sandra Jones, Republican judge assigned to precinct 42, Ward 21. Is that any?
Yes. The individual in question, actually both judges that will be considered today, these are episodes that occurred during training, and Ms. Jones was observed by not only the lead trainer but several assistant trainers, overheard making Jones making offensive and derogatory comments to or about another election judge and trainer based on her perception of their sexual orientation. So we are asking that she was confirmed during the last 2-year period, so that's why we're seeking removal prior to her service this time.
We have the incident reports that were reported, that were provided by the trainer, lead trainer, and assistant trainers. Are there any questions regarding the facts that, if there are no further questions, is there a motion to remove Sandra Jones, Republican judge, as a judge of election?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. The next item is for consideration is a removal of Judge of Election Evelyn Ware, who is a Democratic judge assigned to Precinct 2, Ward 41. Second?
Yes, again, this judge during training session to and in front of both the board trainers made offensive and derogatory comments of a sexual nature toward one of the assistant trainers in particular. It was followed up by the lead trainer, Geneva Morris, a board employee, who heard her repeat the comments, and additionally, after she was asked to cease making the comments of a sexual nature, when she was asked to stop, instead she stopped participating in the class. So we're seeking her removal not only for her inappropriate comments, but also her failure to actually complete training as required by the statute.
And again, we have the incident reports in our packet. Are there any further questions? If not, is there a motion to remove Evelyn Ware as a judge of election?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. We will go on to our next item, legal report. Ms. Agnew, is there anything?
Two things. First of all, I also have a very fond memory and I'm very sad of the passing that Lance mentioned because Justice Freeman actually wrote the very first published appellate decision I ever had as a baby attorney. So I will always, and he found in my favor, so very fond.
That always
of him.
helps.
Yes. The second thing is this morning, right before we came in, I received an email from Barb Goodman regarding a case that's not being handled by our office but does impact our ballot in the second congressional. It's been taken up on appeal from judicial review, and it's the case involving Robin Kelly. So the appellee, Marcus Lewis, has asked for and received an expedited briefing schedule. So he is supposed to write the opening memorandum and have it filed on March 4th. And the member of response is supposed to be on March 9th. They also took, along with the case, the motion denying they didn't grant or deny the motion to stay the certification. They're taking that along with the case. And then the court also took Lewis's motion to stay the circuit court's decision to allow Kelly's name to appear, as it will currently. They're taking that along with the case. So it was not, the motion for an immediate stay was not granted, but it will be heard along with the rest of the case. I did not, Barb Goodman just referenced that she had discussed it with you last week. So I actually had, I wouldn't be prepared to discuss anything else about the case. It's just that update.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. We have no financial report. I did not receive any requests for public comment. Do we have a need for executive session?
No, we do not.
Okay, if we do not, then I will entertain a motion to adjourn until our next regularly scheduled meeting on March 10th, 2020 at 9:30 a.m.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.